Hi guys. So welcome to another episode of Chippy Chicks. First I want to say happy Hanukkah. Stacy, do you want to show your hat?
Yes.
I'm sure.
Hug some ass to everybody that's watching. I have this amazing hat of mine, which I bought a couple years ago. And also my shirt, which if you can read, says Happy Hockey Hanukkah. It was designed a couple of years ago by Sandra Velasquez, goaltender, amazing person. She actually played for Colombia in a women's tournament quite a number of years ago. But she was the amazing designer of the shirt as well. So
I love it.
Awesome. I love it. So I kind of wanted to segue into that because I know Stacy, you brought up some stuff about the Jewish players and the San Jose AHL team. So if you wanted to talk about that, and we can kind of start talking about holiday jerseys and stuff like that.
yes. So someone amazing on Twitter pointed out that the San Jose Barracudas had their teddy bear toss this year. And the jerseys are just absolutely beautiful. They were blue and white. And the friend of mine on Twitter who had pointed out this whole thing to me pointed out that it was because the goaltender who was playing that night was Strauss Mann, who started for the US in the Olympics this year and is also Jewish. It was a really cool sort of a thing, like whether it was deliberate or not, who knows, but it was just a really cool thing to have the blue and white jerseys on for the teddy bear toss. And when Strauss was playing. This kind of circles into this idea for me of my annual plea for a Hanukkah jersey. I've seen so many different teams, the Arizona Coyotes, the New Jersey Devils, have amazing campaigns with artists from the community who are drawing the jerseys for cultural and religious holidays of all sorts. And they have been beautiful and gorgeous. And you look them up and you see these campaigns in the jersey, and it's wonderful. I would love to see a Hanukkah jersey created by a Jewish artist for whatever team. I know the Islanders had scarves that said Islanders in Hebrew for their Jewish Heritage Night, which happened comparatively recently. I'd also like to see more publicity for these Jewish Heritage themed nights. 3 different teams in the last couple of weeks have had Jewish Heritage Nights. I only knew about the New Jersey Devils one because of the Maccabees, who posted a photo of it on Instagram. The Islanders were great about posting about their night on social media. I saw that an organization in Tampa Bay through an amazing bookstagrammer that I adore did a night in Tampa. But I'd love to see more teams do some of these nights with much more loud sort of publicity and excitement, especially what's going on right now. This is because of the current climate. So.
Yeah, I would agree. And I know we chatted about the Tampa Bay when you had messaged me about it. I went to their Instagram, I went to their Twitter, and then I just finally had to like search it. And that's how I found out that it was like a thing. They weren't really promoting it. And like I know like the Flyers does a bunch of different like theme nights, and I feel like they always promote it. Even if it's just when you're watching the game, I feel like they talk about it. So like I don't know why they didn't want to promote it more. Especially like Florida is a very relo market. This is my day job background talking, but like there's a lot of people that are from upstate New York that have relocated to Florida, and there's a lot of a bigger Jewish population. So it does make sense that Tampa had one, but like they just weren't promoting it anywhere for us to see. So when you told me that, I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I thought that's interesting.
That's a missed opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I love like the Canucks have done a lot of holiday, or not specifically holiday, but they've done a lot of different like special jerseys. Like I know they did the Diwali ones, which I thought were really cool. So I feel like they've kind of done a lot, and I don't think as many other teams have done too many. I feel like the Flyers have barely done anything that have even been notable to me. But I love seeing it. So I'd love to see more teams to do different things. I think that's great. to try to bring in the community in their local areas. I think it's always a great thing.
I think it depends a lot on your fan base. Like the Canucks have
Yeah.
a big Chinese fan base, so they usually do a Chinese New Year jersey, and they have a big South Asian population too. And they're really big sports fans, I mean, at the game. So it's nice that they do the jerseys to honor those people. But I think it's hard because I think if they don't perceive that that group is in there, and I guess it's easier if it's a visible minority group, they can say, oh, look, we've got all these people here. But it also probably has to do with the makeup of the population of the team. So, because I think the Jets had a Filipino night recently.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a large Filipino population in Winnipeg, and they did that. They do quite often, every year they have a military night. I'm sure they've done others. I can't think of them off the top of my head, and they always put them out on social media, and I like it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I love seeing it.
I think that's why I want a Hanukkah jersey so much, or I want some kind of like Jewish kind of American heritage jersey or something to that effect so much, because I love seeing these other jerseys. I love seeing these other artists get visual, the campaigns behind them, the conversations about who this artist is, like in their background, and like what inspired them to draw the, to create these jerseys. Like it kind of, it's a beautiful bit of synergy between like the members of the fan base who are of that culture, the way that they want to celebrate that culture on the jersey with the team. And it's a beautiful synergy, I think. And
Yeah.
I would like that too.
I think before every Canucks games, they do now a First Nations acknowledgement about what lands were on. Are they doing that for every team in the NHL?
What they do it in Winnipeg, I can't recall if I've heard it. I mean, I assume it would be mostly Canadian ones that are
Okay.
doing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they do it in Toronto or Montreal.
Are they doing it in Calgary in 14?
I assume so. I assume they are.
Yeah.
Because there's not much else they can do because we are terrible people in Alberta.
Just not you.
No, just not me.
Okay, there are some issues in Alberta right now, yes.
Always.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't know, did you guys have any other thoughts about the special jerseys, or do you think we can move on to our next topic?
Let's move on.
Okay, so one thing I wanted to bring up like this summer, but we had so many other things to talk about that we never got to bring it up. Obviously, I paid attention to it because it was about Chris Pronger, and he used to play for Flyers, so like obviously I was paying attention. He started posting these like threads on Twitter. Let me see if I can share. I'll just share one of them. So you don't need to see that. So he started posting these threads on Twitter. And this is one about like the travel. So you can kind of just see like, and they go pretty long, but I found them as like a hockey romance author to be really valuable to hear like the behind the curtains sort of thing. And he's done one about, people gave him a little bit of crap about, he did one about salary, and people were like, oh, I can't feel like bad about this, but he was like really breaking down like what the salaries actually mean for them, like when you consider agents, trainers, equipment, everything else you have to do, that they're really not making as much as the layperson thinks that they are. So that was like really interesting to read. And hockey, I think, is really like the lowest paid sport, or is on the lower end. So I think if you're taking that into account too, he's also done one about, I was hoping he would do another one because he did tweet that he was thinking about doing one and he was asking people for like ideas. So I think he's going to do another one soon. Yeah, people gave him some crap about the salary one, but I thought it was awesome to like kind of see like the realities. He did one about like, how come you've never heard of you haven't heard about your favorite hockey player from when you were a kid? And he was talking about the realities of like, and I think we see this a lot of times where guys get hurt unexpectedly and their career ends and they don't really have an identity anymore. And he was kind of talking about that reality. A lot of them aren't good with managing their money. They don't really know what type of job to be in after they stop playing. And it is why we see a lot of the guys just working for the team that they played for, a lot of guys becoming color commentators, because the only thing they really know is hockey. So I think that's sad. Like, I would love for them to like not have their whole identity be on this one thing. And if it doesn't work out, it's like they don't know what to do. I think there was a Stars player that kind of was in that position. Like, his career had kind of ended abruptly, and he basically talked about how he felt like he didn't have an identity anymore. So I don't know if you guys have read any of these these threads, because I meant to bring it up to you guys, but I find them so invaluable as a hockey romance author.
Yeah, I didn't know that. He said they all get changed out of their suits into like t-shirts and shorts when they get on the plane. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Write that one in.
I totally, right. I love the details of it. I wasn't following him, but now I am, because I love that stuff. And it's like, like you say, as a hockey romance author, it's a great way to get some of those little details that we don't really have insight to normally.
I was gonna say, when I was reading the outline and you're like, Chris Pronger's threads, and I was like, what, does he have any clothes? And so I went online and I was like looking, and I was like, oh, like Twitter threads, because I was like, his clothes aren't that great, like.
No, his Twitter threads.
Yeah, I wish. I have my own Chris Pronger. You guys know, every time he like reads my books and he's like, nope, this is not what happens. But he really, Sean's reading your book, Mel, and he's like, nope, see, this is somebody who knows things about hockey, fortunately.
Awesome.
Oh, I feel so good now.
I did read some of the threads, and then I looked into his what's it called? Their travel company and their team. Have you guys read through his website? So it has like him and his wife and his kids and the dogs. The dogs have profiles. It's really cute. So he's doing things.
That's awesome.
So what was the blowback, Danica? Was it just you guys are making so much money you shouldn't complain?
Yeah, it was just people on Twitter being dicks, basically. Like, it was just people being like, I found it hard. Like, I was like, whatever. Like, it's just like the fact that you make all this money, so I don't really have any sympathy for like the trouble, like the turmoil or trials you have to go through, type of thing. Just people being like, I don't know. You know, the normal Twitter type of backlash. I don't think it was really that big.
Which was not his intent in doing that. I don't think. It was
He's just trying to like be like, hey, this is the reality of like what it is. And I find that really fascinating.
But even things on
NBA players, and apparently they get advice when they're rookies, like about managing their money and stuff, and not to have a whole entourage and not to trust people, you know, around them that want money, like to, you know, try and get a handle on it so they don't end up that way. It sounds like if he didn't put that in his thread though, so I assume NHL players don't get that.
Well, you know, we know the NHL players, they're starting out way younger in pro sports than the other leagues. Like, you're done university by the time you're finished, what's it called, when you're playing in the NFL. So I do believe that, but to your point, it's only the big players that get the big money. You know what I mean? Like, there's still 20 other guys on that roster who are making league minimum. So
and especially if you're a two-way, you're still on the entry-level contract, and like I think you only make like, I think you can make a max of like 70,000 a year or something like that. It's like, it's still a lot, but like in terms of what other superstars are making, it's not as much. So, and like the AHL, like those guys aren't making a lot of money. So like that should, like, it's minor league money. I think Brenda Rothert has like an AHL series. I think there's 3 books. I really like them because like part of a conflict in one of the books, it was an accidental pregnancy, and he's thinking about like leaving hockey because the money is so bad in minor league, and like getting another job to like take care of this woman and the baby, because he's like, I want to take care of her. And I thought that was like a really interesting thing to include.
Yeah, no, definitely like the threads about
questions of identity and like what to do, like definitely were really, really helpful when I was like in the early-ish stages of my next book, which is about a hockey player who literally had just retired, and his like, you know, like what he's like literally still in the process of like heading towards that first season outside of hockey. So like he's, you know, he's trying to figure out what to do, and sort of like, and he goes to therapy, and he has a, you know, he has a psychiatrist, and he has obviously his physical therapy too, but like it's an adjustment process. Like he's, you know, he's like, it's not easy, you know, in that stage. And I think that's like the biggest question, like whether it's a decision that you make slowly. I mean, like how many times has like, you know, how many times have some of the players unretired and come back to play? Like this happens because of the identity question. Like people don't have an identity outside of the sport, right? Because they've been playing it for so long. And, like what
Tom
do they do
Brady.
next?
Yeah, right.
I think people used to make the joke that Chris Chelios would play until he turned to dust, because I think he played for a really long time.
He was in it. He was in his 40s, I think, when he was still
Yeah.
playing. Yeah.
There was a guy on the Penguins who was like 42. I think he's since retired now. And Patrick Marleau, he played for a while too. I think he
because
finally
I
retired,
remember there was some player. Wasn't one of the rookies dating his daughter or something? Because it gets.
Oh my God.
Leo? No, he only has boys.
I'm thinking
Oh,
it was
Chelios?
San Jose or
I think-
something.
I think
I'll
so.
look it up. I'll look it up.
Hilarious.
Well, that's kind of interesting. Okay.
Yeah, there's a plot right there.
I shelved a book where just because of the trope, but it was a guy who it was going to be his last year, and he wanted to come back to the team that he was a rookie at, and he didn't know that he had a kid, and the kid was like on the hockey team.
Oh my
I ended up
God.
shelving it. I ended up shelving it. I don't know if I'll ever go back to it, but there was like a lot of reasons why I shelved it. Like there's a lot of things that I didn't think worked for it, but I was like, this is a little ridiculous. But it was fun, right?
But yeah, that's some interesting situations when you have a player that's that old on the team, and
Yeah.
Yeah. Except he's not that old. He's probably like 44.
Yeah, I think he was
yeah.
like 42 or something like that.
Yeah.
But like it's old for hockey.
yeah, compared to the like 20-year-old rookies.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. So there was what's it called? So there's teams that come here to play in Canmore, like minor league hockey. And you know, they come by my workplaces, and it's hard to see like because I'll think that they're I don't know, 16, and they'll give me and I'll pull up their profile, and they give me their ID, and I was like, oh, you're an adult. I'm sorry. But you know, he lives here, but he's like from Boston. I don't know. It's wild.
Oh yeah. There's a dude that plays for the Jets this year who has such a baby face. He's 20 years old, but honest to God, when you see him, he is just a baby. But then he opens his mouth and he's got a deep voice, so it's kind of like
It's kind of like, I need to take a drink right now. What's next?
Speaking of
want to talk about that Hockey Canada?
Yeah.
Ooh, Hockey
I guess
Canada.
we should. It's not a fun thing to talk about, but Mel, I know you had done some research on it, so I don't know if you want to start off, because I'm not as familiar with what the updates are.
Okay, well, I guess we'll do the good news first. The good news is that Hockey Canada has elected a new board of governors, and so they and I saw like the people running, and it seemed pretty good. People with like a background in law or board governance.
5 women.
Yeah, Cassie Campbell
Yeah.
Pascal is on it. So that's good. And their mandate is only to work for a year. So they're like really committed. We're just gonna see this thing through and make real changes to it. So hopefully that's a good first step for them. But I guess the bad news would be that in the Globe and Mail, they had a story about what happened in London, and a lot of detail. And the detail was pretty horrible because it seemed quite clear from the testimony. And apparently the London police are affirming that at least 5 members of the team were involved for sure. That one player knew exactly what he was doing. And from the beginning, he tried to use another name so she wouldn't know his name, because she said the name he told her and the name his friends were calling him were different. That he had sent out a text to a bunch of people. I won't go into the details of everything that happened, but it seemed to be pretty clear that there was intention, that there was knowledge that she wasn't a willing participant, and trying to cover, even to the point of contacting her afterwards and saying, you've got to make this go away. When
tipped off by Hockey Canada that
yes.
It had been reported. So Hockey Canada told him, and that's what made him start texting her and telling her to shut up about this.
The other interesting thing I read was it had all the statements from everyone on the team.
Yeah.
And they've pretty much all said, well, I think 2 or 3 have legitimately said, I wasn't there. I was on holiday, or I wasn't not in the country, because it was not to do with the tournament, it was to do with the gala after a golf tournament. But interestingly, one player has not given any kind of statement. In unrelated news, the Ottawa Senators have not offered a contract to one of their restricted free agents, Alex Formanton. And he's actually a player with pretty decent stats that was on that team. And now he's going to be playing in the Swiss League. And the Swiss League, when they signed him, they did show a codicil on his contract that said, if anything should come up to do with this Hockey Canada thing, we are going to be relooking at this contract. Yeah, which is a pretty crazy thing to see on a contract. So obviously, there's no proof, there's nothing going on. But one interesting thing is, if you've got a player that's pretty good, but the team won't re-sign you, and no other team in the NHL will make you an offer, because if you're if you're an RFA without a contract, any team could take you, but nobody's taking you. And I did read an article that said that they feel that teams have learned something from what happened with the Boston Bruins, that they don't want to just go into a contract that could be a problem and a black eye for the team. So I think that's good news too, that they're actually, moving, maybe becoming more conscious of their image with the fans, and especially female fans.
Yeah. I found all those details way more than we knew before. Just horrifying. And I feel like if they're actually going to charge some of these guys, we are going to know exactly who they are.
Well, the fact that that one player can't get a contract, and does make me wonder if everyone in the NHL management does know. It's not public, and they're not willing to say anything until there's proof, but they probably do know.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah, so
I bet so many insiders know exactly who the guys are.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to come out pretty soon, and it's going to be ugly for some of those guys.
Well, I mean, when you look at the statements, almost all of them have pro hockey careers going on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and some of them are really good players. What an ugly thing. I think I mentioned before that I wrote a book about this. This same situation where I was a junior hockey player that was, and I think one of the guys that I saw, his just a brief statement of his, said he may have walked into the room and wondered if he was witnessing a rape, and he left, but didn't tell anybody. And that's exactly what happened to the kid in my book. And so, I mean, lots of people
on Reddit were defending this player, saying, well, he's like a kid. He's like, how do you know what to do? You don't know what to do. And so, and maybe there is something of that. I mean, it's hard enough when you're a bystander to something that's going on. It's hard to intervene in many situations like that. And that was the whole lesson that in the book that I wrote, that the kid left, wasn't involved with what happened, but didn't do anything to stop it, and had to learn that that's almost as bad. So it'll be interesting. Ugh.
Yeah, it's hard. Hopefully people are becoming more conscious of that whole bystander thing too. That if you do witness something, it's your responsibility to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I do wonder about, because of all these things that we talk about, is do you ever feel a responsibility as a hockey romance writer that we are enhancing the image of hockey players?
Yeah, I mean, I probably write, like, my characters are very, like, probably not realistic because they're really nice guys. So, like, I really don't write alpha holes. Like, that's just not my brand. So yeah, I think about that. But I also, like, I definitely have critiqued the league in some of my books, with some things. Like, I think I have a line in Against the Boards where he's Mexican American, and like he starts using pride tape because his girlfriend is bisexual and he has a gay sister, and someone asks him about it, and he, like, his internal monologue is talking about, like, the league says that hockey is for everyone, but that's not really true. So I've definitely, like, put some of my thoughts in, like, little things there. So I've definitely, like, have continued to put that, and in my next book that comes up again. So I've definitely have, like, at least put that message. So I think people can, like, know where I stand on some things, but I think it's a good thing to think about. Yeah, I don't know.
There are two
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. So this morning I started my day with seeing an Instagram post from Zach Hyman. Generally speaking, you know, it's Hanukkah, so we expect the Edmonton player who lit the menorah in Edmonton last year and wears number 18 on his jersey to have a message about Hanukkah. But today's message was different. Today's message was a light and a repost from a message that the NHL, and I'm going somewhere with this, about an initiative that was created by the ADL, the NHL apparently has signed on to. And he was drawing attention to this. And I write Jewish hockey players. I write, you know, conversations about what it means to be Jewish and a hockey player, or what it means, you know, and in a lot of ways. And one of the large part of B'nai Mitzvah, which is the next book, is also this question of, you know, hockey, you know, is hockey actually for everyone? Tying back to the earlier conversation about jerseys, about all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, what is the NHL going to do? What is the league going to do about things, about anti-Semitism? You know, is the league going to follow up on things that it does? Is it going to include Jewish players in conversations about diversity and inclusion? You know, again, this all ties together to this idea of, like, do we glorify hockey players? I think we have to be, and I think the question becomes also, number one, do we glorify hockey players? But number two, like, what do we do to kind of, like, try to create a story that, like, is critical and tries to kind of make things better, if that makes any sense. Like, we talk about how we feel, you know, because we always see hockey through our lens, right? Like, Kelly, you were talking about the book that you wrote about the bystander and the story about that. Like, and I think that all of those things that we do when we come into our books Like, we're not just writing, like, you know, we're being critical about the league, if that makes any sense at all. But, and I think we should continue to be critical in our books. So I think that's important. So
I think we're writers because we have something to say about the world and we're able to articulate what those things are. It's kind of off topic, but I was Sean was like, you should get we were talking about true romance, and he's like, oh, you should get "You're So Cool" like tattooed. I was like, no, that is what a man thinks a woman would say to him if he was dying. It's not a real thing. I'm not going, like, there's no woman that's going to be like, "You're so cool." That's like something else. But you know what I mean? Like, it always colored by the writer's experience, i.e. like not being a real woman.
I have the series that I'm writing. I think I'm going to keep writing it. My Bears hockey series has had a big focus on men's mental health through every book. Some of them because they went through trauma, not necessarily hockey related, but even in this most recent book that I just released, whenever that was, October, I guess, the heroine of the book is, I guess she's a researcher. I don't know. But she is writing a book about masculinity and toxic masculinity. And so she's very interested to talk to these hockey players and see, ask them some questions about it. And like things like, do you consider violence to be like masculine? Is that why hockey players are so violent? And the players even comment in the book, like, maybe we're an exception. I don't know, but because I obviously don't want to write heroes that are toxically masculine. I want to write heroes that at least have some awareness and try to be better. So that's kind of where I'm going with that kind of thing.
That's interesting. One of my books that it's probably going to come out this next year, maybe. I don't know yet. But he grew up in an abusive home, and his sister had an abusive husband, and she died before he could get her out. And he has custody of his nephew. So he doesn't fight because of his experiences. And like, he doesn't want his nephew to see that and think it's okay. And that's because of his experiences. But I have other guys that fight like all the time. So it's like their experience. I wanted to like really show like why he is that way. And like, it's his experience of colored that. He's a like a really sweet guy, but he's also like kind of has a lot of burdens because of being a single dad and everything. But yeah, I like thought about that a lot, about like the fighting and everything, because we love hockey fights, but like, are they good? Like, I don't know, I'll still like them, they're still fun to watch, but I do think about it. I
always try to contrast the player on the ice and the player off the ice. Like on the ice, fighting is a part of hockey, but I always want to make sure that off the ice, these guys are not ever trying to physically hurt somebody. Like they would never hit a woman, for example, like which does happen with pro athletes.
It does. Well, I always find that like fighting is such a weird thing in hockey, because like they talk about fighting, but in the context of the game, it's usually like an honorable thing, or do you know what I mean? Like, so it's hard to take it out of context if you've never seen a hockey game, if you don't understand it, if you don't understand the team dynamics. There's a lot more to it than just like throwing fists.
Yes.
I wrote one enforcer hero, and the heroine, who's not really familiar with hockey, is just repulsed by seeing him fight and is afraid of him. And he says, well, I would never like hurt a woman. He's telling her, but she's like, well, I don't know anything about you, and I just saw you fighting, and you seemed to enjoy it, and it was so awful. Like, she almost throws up when she sees him fighting and getting hurt. But obviously it's a thing that you have to work through. But, if you're not used to it, definitely, if you see people fighting, you're thinking, is that allowed? Like,
I mean, really,
it'd be allowed anywhere else.
Exactly. It's insane when you think about it.
People always make that joke. Like, I wish things were like hockey where I could just punch someone on the only penalties I have to sit in the box for.
Right. Yeah. Punch someone and then have a 2-minute timeout.
Like, just go in your timeout box.
That's not real life.
No, it's not. So I don't know if we had that many wildest things. I think only me and Kelly had put some
Oh, I
down.
have
I don't
one.
know
I
if you wanna
sorry,
move
I
on to
didn't
that.
tell you.
Stuff to
I do.
talk about.
Oh, okay. Kelly, do you want to start? I love yours.
Okay, I'll start. My wildest thing from the last month or so was Pat Maroon and what happened with the dude, the Bruins play-by-play announcer, Jack Edwards, who made like really stupid comments about Maroon's weight. I'm not going to repeat them, but I think he was trying to be funny, but it's not funny, especially for a guy who has been mocked about his weight for a long time, apparently. Even going back to like, when was that, 2020, another player called him a fat fuck. And then there was an incident in 2019 where he was playing, it was actually against the Jets. And apparently there was a little back and forth between him and Patrick Laine, where Patrick Laine told him, "You're fat." And Maroon said, "Well, I might be chubby, but I'm effective."
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that on
wonder-
a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I also-
right. I'll wear that on a t-shirt.
I feel like Bring Hockey Back might have made t-shirts. I feel like
Oh,
they
maybe
might
they
have.
did.
I would have,
I
yeah,
feel
I
like
would
someone
have-
did.
They're amazing like
Yeah,
that.
you know what?
Like,
When I was looking at that, maybe they did.
yeah,
Anyway, so after this stupid play-by-play announcer says these insulting comments about his weight and how long he goes between meals and how many pizzas he's had and whatever. So Pat Maroon posts on Twitter that in support of those struggling with mental health, bullying, and body image, I am making a $2,000 donation in the name of Jack Edwards to Tampa Bay Thrives. And I encourage Tampa Bay Lightning and NHL fans to join me. So he turned something that was stupid and ugly into a positive thing.
Yeah, he was really classy about it. It was like
Yeah.
trolly, but like
Yeah.
classy, and I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
He could have just eaten a bunch of hot dogs and like
Well, like he also has like 3 back-to-back rings, so it's like,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
on.
right. Right.
Exactly. Chubby, but effective.
I think he's good.
I don't know, but I feel like the really like ripped hockey athlete is a pretty new phenomenon. Like
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
they didn't used to look like that. They were really skinny or like huge, but not like ripped.
Yeah.
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 And
I
like
agree.
a lot of them were huge because they were enforcers. And like now a lot of them are trimming back and like they don't want to be that big on the ice. They more want like leaner muscles because they want to be fast on the ice.
Faster.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's like a different, like what the players want now is like a little bit different. And then
Which,
what
as an
like
aside, brings up the issue of hockey romance covers.
they're not realistic at all.
There, like so many, I've tried to avoid that because hockey players are not really like, they're not bodybuilders. Like they're not.
I
huge.
know.
But there's a lot
Listen,
of hockey
Kelly, we're
romance
just trying
covers
to sell
have
that book.
bodybuilder type with the big muscles and the like. That's not.
Plus, you're bare chested and you've got the skate blade right above your back. It's super dangerous.
I feel like I put that in against the boards because
Oh,
I
maybe.
think Rox was reading a book and Benny picked it up and made like a comment about like that's weird. I think I put that in the book.
It'd be like, why aren't there gates or guards on these skates?
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. Oh yeah. So here's my complaint about slimming up because Jerome McGinley do you guys remember? He was big and he was tough, and then he like slimmed down like 15 pounds, which doesn't seem like a lot, but like he got pushed around so much more, even though he was faster. I was like, I don't know. I think I'd want to like not be able to be taken off the puck as opposed to like out skating somebody. I don't know what's a better thing.
There must
I'm
be
not a
like
hockey
a
player.
scientific way to tell if you should, the right weight you should be at for hockey. I mean, speed and size and everything. There must be like a way that we don't have to just guess.
Don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's mine.
I
Mel?
can go next.
Okay, I'm going. Well, it came up at the game last night. The Jets, the Jets obliterating the Canucks last night. I don't know if you're watching, Kelly.
I was watching.
I don't. The other thing is, I don't know if we have the same announcers, or if do you get local announcers, or do you get?
I was
national?
watching. Well, it was on the CBC channel, but it was like Hanran Singh and the other dude. I don't know. That's who was calling the game.
Oh, okay. It was John Garrett, I think, was doing the color on our game. But
Oh.
anyway, they were talking about the Canucks called up this player who's sort of been like a fringe, not really in the NHL guy, and his name is Lane Pedersen, and he on the AHL team he's scored like I think 17 goals in 18 games. He came in the trade with Ethan Bear from Carolina, and so they were saying, "Well, do you know anybody on the Canucks team?" You know, when he came and he says, well, yeah, kind of like I know Luke Shen. So it turns out that Lane Pedersen has been dating the Shen's younger sister since grade 9.
Wow.
So they all live in Saskatoon, I guess, and he they've been mentoring him too on his career. So when he got the call up, I guess Luke Shen was pretty happy for him. But I thought, oh my God, they've been going out that long. And then of course I had to look her up, and it's so cute to think of them dating all that time, and then him not being in the NHL and suddenly getting called up. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, good plot line.
Yeah.
It's always a good one. So mine is Chris Letang.
Right.
So he had a stroke, which apparently was his second one, which I didn't like. I obviously don't pay attention to the Penguins because I don't like Penguins, so I don't care. But I was like, oh my God, he had a stroke and he's out indefinitely. 12 days later, he's back on the ice.
Yeah.
Well,
And like,
it was a minor
like,
stroke,
oh well,
right?
yeah, they said it was okay, but like
Stroke. I know, is it like a Paul Pierce stroke where he's like it was?
I'm not sure, but like the
Some
fact
kind of
that they were like
medical-
indefinitely and then he was back on the ice that quickly is like a little bit concerning. But people are like, oh well, his doctors would never let clear him if he wasn't mental. I'm like, well, his doctors are probably paid by the team, so like,
Yeah, right.
how much is that really healthy? But I don't know. I think he said it was
minor.
it wasn't as it was minor. But that just I don't know.
I know, but that's like a stroke. But we always talk about this with concussions and like injuries, how they come back so much faster. But yeah, to Danica's point, they are paid by the team. And like what kind of like, you know, what kind of doctor paid by Health Canada is going to be like, oh no, you should not play millions of dollar player. Like
Yeah. I think I just have like PTSD from like what the Flyers management did to Lindros. So I'm always like,
Yeah, that was bad.
like, so that was a little crazy because people are like, oh my God, like, yeah, he should just be out for the season. And then he came back like that soon.
But in his defense, Sean's grandmother, she's like 96 or 98. She just had a stroke. And went to the hospital and they're like, no, she's like, no, get me out of here. Like she was home. She's from Newfoundland. So it could have been a minor stroke. And he's much healthier and younger than she is.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a stroke like that. He just didn't feel good. And then they tested him and found that he had this like minor stroke. So he's like really in tune with his body, I guess, because he has a heart condition of some kind that makes him vulnerable to this. So, because it would be super unusual for someone that young to have a stroke, like a regular stroke.
Yeah.
Just wild.
Sorry, I did look up the wildest thing, and then I just got sidetracked by cutest things. So Elias Lindholm, he and his girlfriend wife they adopted a rescue from Arcs in Calgary. It's so cute if you go on his website or on his Instagram. This dog looks so soft. Like he looked, I don't even know, he looked like a pillow, like a cloud.
Oh,
Did you see him?
Look it up now.
Yeah.
Um,
And Sean's like, how do you leave him at the shelter? I'm like, I don't think he did.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Stacey, did you have a wild thing this month?
so I have a cool thing.
Okay.
I have been following Anson Carter on Instagram. For a lot of different reasons. He's a really good player. He was a great ranger. Like he's a really good commentator. And one of the things that I noticed this year is that there have been more and more bits on his Instagram focused on the Atlanta Gladiators, which is the ECHL affiliate of the Phoenix Coyotes. And like there have been, it's been really, really exciting to see like all of the things that he's been doing with them. They recently had a game where they borrowed the Atlanta Thrashers marks from the NHL, and they had like a kind of like an Atlanta Thrashers Day basically. And like if you look at the pictures, like all of the seats that they sold in this like rather large arena were sold. Like they didn't sold. He was like, next year I'm gonna like sell more seats and like have a full like George UGA like hockey game and like involve the Lady Gladiators, which is a women's team they're working with. And I think it's just kind of amazing to see this to see him involved so deeply in hockey in Atlanta, but also to see like the outpouring of excitement like for hockey in Atlanta. So I just thought that was really, really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. We can do our style report. Let me share. Okay. You guys can see that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Actually, Stacey, do you want to explain this one?
So last month, I shouted out the New York Rangers social media team for something that they did with the World Cup and Anabox. This week, it's something else completely. It's something else. It's something that they did with Kandra Miller. They had him sit down and talk about what he wears and the sort of the theories behind what he wears and why he chooses what he wears. And it was a really, really fascinating insight because like all of you see him like fourth or fifth or third, like on top of like all of these, best dressed lists like Sarah Sibian does, and a couple of other people do it. And like, you see his name all the time. And like, it's just really, really cool to have him to have like a player actively discuss the theory behind his wardrobe. So I just thought that was really, really cool. And again, like you see him in that suit and he talks specifically also about that suit in the video. So
yeah, I just took a still of it because I was like, I don't know which one,
really
but
video.
I love it. He's gorgeous.
Twitter, and it's just really fun.
He is a really nice dresser. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is. And
Did he say
really,
though?
really good...
What did he say though?
Basically, like, I like to I like he was wearing like a longer coat in one of the videos, and he's like, this coat was the star of the outfit, so I wore these pants because they highlighted it. And he went into detail about like why he chooses certain things. Like I think
Don't
that
want the tie to
particular
contrast
suit
too
that he
much.
wanted- Like, and that was the day where like that particular suit was, I believe, memory serves, my brain is all over the place. But I believe that particular suit was worn on a day where like he needed something comfortable, where like he knew it looked good. It was one of his favorites and he needed a mood boost, so out it came. So like, it's really, really interesting to listen to his style choices and listen to him like talk about them. So kudos for Rangers social media for putting it together.
Cool.
yeah, that's cool. But like the Flyers have not been posting any suits photos. I went like through the whole month of December and couldn't find a single one. So I had two picks because I was like, I hope Stacey doesn't pick this one because it's the Ranger. Ryan Reeves as Santa and Krill as his
Oh,
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, you know what? If she doesn't use this one, I'll use this one. I had a backup pick. Just because I was like, oh, I love when they do like little gimmicky things because it's just like fun.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
I guess I'll go. So this is my guy here in the bottom left in the bold white coat. Um, so the Flames are the opposite of the Flyers, and they've been doing all sorts of things. And I might have to do like a whole like series on Michael Backlund because he's been stepping up the game. But this is Huberdeau, I believe. It's hard to tell because he's kind of faced away, but I picked this because of the jacket. I've never seen. Have you ever seen an NHL player wear a jacket like this?
That is a nice jacket.
Yeah, he's like even like his little cup of coffee. Like he's so I don't know.
Is he European?
Pardon?
Is he like Swedish?
No, he's
I think
French, isn't he?
He's French.
he's European.
He's Francophone. Okay.
Yeah.
He
I
looks
was saying
European.
like it feels European look like a European style to me.
Yeah.
That looks-
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
even his little cup is tiny, like his to-go cup and stainless steel. I love it. Looks great.
People in Quebec are very stylish.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so mine is the top left corner there, and that is a change from a suit pick. That is Nate Schmidt. This was when the Jets were doing their annual visit to the Children's Hospital, although they haven't done it the last couple of years because of COVID. But this year they were able to do it again, so they're all at the hospital. And instead of wearing just regular clothes, Nate Schmidt wore a onesie,
I love it.
a Jets onesie. This is not the original picture that I saw, and I swear to God, I saved it somewhere and now I can't find it. And now I'm thinking maybe they deleted it because it was taken from the back and it was a very fine view of Nate Schmidt's hockey butt. In a onesie.
All right.
Anyway, he's a
That's
good guy. He's always smiling, although you can't see it because he's wearing a mask. Bless you for wearing a mask to the Children's Hospital. And
Can I ask like an old lady question?
Yeah.
Are people wearing pajamas everywhere? Because
no,
like I saw somebody yesterday, and then I was at Safeway, and these two girls were wearing robes and pajamas, and I thought,
what?
really? Like robes and pajamas? Is this like a thing?
I don't know. I'm an old lady too, so I don't know.
So is that like just here? It's just
I don't know.
I mean, I don't. I mean, I might wear some yoga pants. That's sometimes, of course, I'll take it.
yeah, that's okay.
Occasionally you see somebody wearing pajama bottoms, like a pair of flannel pajama bottoms, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody wearing a robe.
Okay, maybe it's just
Yeah,
in
that's a little
Vancouver.
much.
Oh, like, yeah.
We'll have to stop now that it's snowed. Yeah. Okay. So I have only shown, I think, 2 players for like about a year now. So I thought I'm just going to show you, but we don't have any super stylish dressers, I have to say. Although sometimes I have some ideas. Depends what they show. This is Ethan Bear, who's been playing really well on defense, and it's just got a slight check in his suit. You can't see, but anyway, he's a
Yeah,
cutie.
it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, he's a cutie. So I thought I'd put him up here.
Nice.
It's good.
I think kudos to the Jets because for every game they are now putting a bunch of photos of players like getting off the plane or walking into the arena. Pretty much every time they do it.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
Canucks are doing it, I think, mainly for the home games, but I don't know. It's not like inspiring like that Huberdeau coat or
Yeah.
Oh, you
DeAndre. I
got-
mean, those are cool style and looks.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you can
I
go
will
on
say-
if you
Yeah.
if you guys go on the Calgary Flames, so they didn't do a lot last year, but if you go on the Calgary Flames Instagram, there's always stuff now. And I think that's why everybody's stepping it up. Because last year it wasn't as good. This year,
Yeah, I think there's just nothing exciting about the Flyers right now. So maybe that's why. Who's
You guys
ever
have been
doing
in
the
a losing
Kraken's
streak,
TikTok
eh?
though?
Oh my God.
Who's ever doing the Kraken's TikTok knows what they're
Yes.
doing.
Okay.
And
Oh,
I think
Alexander
it's a woman
Wennberg
and
one,
she
like-
must read hockey romance. Like that's
Yeah.
like
Oh, I have to check that out.
yeah, I stitched one of the videos like oh, this is an idea. Like,
I
um,
love it.
I forget what his name is, but he's very attractive, but he's all over their TikTok.
Oh.
I think it was like Alexander Wenberg or something with like the
Yes,
like, you stitch the book talk like in the hashtag book talk every single
Yes.
time. I'm like, my God, what is
It is so beautiful.
Yeah, so they post a lot of, like, whoever does their TikTok posts a lot of videos of him,
Oh,
like a lot.
yeah.
And I'm like, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
I used him for book inspo for a character. I was like,
Oh, yeah?
this guy.
I think a
Whoa.
lot of people are now. I was trying to actually find a picture of him, but I had like my backup was Morgan Geeky just because I think Morgan Geeky is hilarious. Because he said in an interview that, oh, well, at the end of the day, you just can't out Pizza the Hut. He said that. I just think that he's like really funny and he has fun with the interviews. So I was like, all right, this will be my backup, like one, just because I find him like hilarious. I think he's the same guy that brought the Baby Yoda into an interview with him. Or no,
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hilarious.
all right. So I guess who has any like sales or books coming up?
I have a sale. It's the digital book that's on sale. The ebook is on sale at Apple. It's my Christmas romance, Hate Me Under the Mistletoe, which is about actually two hockey players. They both play hockey. On sale for 99 cents at Apple Books until January 7th.
That's the one in BC, right?
Yeah.
I read that.
Love and Luck is actually free right now. I don't know how long it's going to be free for. It's pretty much free everywhere. I also want to give a shout out to Deanna Gray. Her new Mendel Hawks series is out. And when I saw the cover for Teen Players, I was like, I need to read this series. It's 2 books right now. The first is Sunny Disposition. The second one, Teen Players, just came out. So I'm like, I need to read this one. I was thinking about it when you guys were talking about covers. I'm like, this is a cover that sells me a book for sure. If you guys see it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
It's hockey?
Yes, it is hockey. It's as I said, the author is Deanna Gray. The series is the Mental Hawk series, and the second one is called Teen Players, and it just came out. Apparently, both the main male character and the main female character are hockey players, and I think they're both captains of their respective teams. So it's like a really cool, like.
Yeah, I think I saw that come across my Instagram, and I think you're right.
Yeah.
They're both.
Yeah.
So for me, my non-hockey Christmas book, my brewery series, is 99 cents across all platforms until the end of the month. So if you're looking for Christmas, I have it in this one. I just released the cover of my next hockey book though. So I can
Let's see it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it would help if I don't have this in my... Okay. I want to say something. I didn't do this on purpose. He's my Philly-born hockey player, and it's orange and black.
Oh,
I love it.
It was not intentional. That was just the color I went with.
Well, it was somewhere in your brain.
It's subliminal. It's very
nice.
I was like, this was not on purpose, but that's what I ended up going with. I actually wanted to go with a yellow, and I usually will give her like, sometimes if I don't know what color, I'll be like, hey, let's try like a purple or a teal, and then I'll pick the teal one, but I'll keep that purple in the back end. And then I'm like, hey, can we try like a yellow or maybe an orange? And I hated the yellow one. I hated it. So I was like, orange it is. And I didn't even think about it.
What's your Philadelphia team? What are their jersey colors?
Orange.
It's red and black.
Red
I
and
didn't
black.
think about it when I got the first one done, and then I didn't want them all to be blue. So I was like, oh, I'll just make them to all different colors. So I didn't think about it. I didn't want to use orange and black because I didn't want people to like try to make that connection as it being the Flyers, even though I have had readers come up to me to be like, but you really just want to write the Flyers. And I'm like, well, no, because this is like fiction and this is my own team. But okay.
What email?
I don't have anything on sale. I do have a Christmas book, which is Hate to Love and Opposites Attract and Fake Dating and all that stuff. It's my tropiest book. So my Christmas tree.
Nice. I don't have a sale. I do have a Christmas book out, My Christmas with You. I do have kind of a fun little exciting thing. So next month, July 19th, no, not July, January 19th, Jane Porter and Megan Crane are coming out to my library in Canmore, and they're doing a talk.
Wow.
Also, well, CJ's going to be there too. And also Sinclair. I'm going to meet Sinclair in person for the first time. So it'll be a fun. Yeah. So if you guys are in town, it's a free talk at the Canmore Library. And that's like that's a $125 ticket. Come on.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I'm hosting it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think we landed on a date for January yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I guess I messaged, but I think I just sent it to Fortune.
Maybe.
But
Yeah. What do you guys want? 15, 22nd?
22nd, does that make sense? It's the second.
22nd, yeah. 22nd.
22nd.
Yeah, that should work. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And I think it's my turn.
I don't know
Yeah.
if there's a turn.
Yeah, but everybody's gone now, right?
I think so, yeah.
Except for me. Yeah, that's my turn.
Yeah. Okay. So our next episode will be on January 22nd. I'm sure we will post on our socials so you can listen to us ramble about hockey again. It's always fun. I love talking to you guys about hockey, and it's great to do it. So I like
It's so much fun. Subscribe to the channel and then you get notified, I think, when we put it up. So
yeah.
You know, it could be fun if we did just like a straight up plot party.
Oh, a what?
Like a straight up plot party, like hockey romance plot party.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, do you
maybe.
think I plot?
Oh no, I definitely don't.
I have ideas, but
I exist on vibes alone.
accumulate ideas and then
And then you forget it all, and then you're like, and then your editor says, you know, you should think about this a lot. And then you go back and you find a notebook where you wrote all your ideas, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Just forgot.
Yeah.
Should we do like how to write a hockey romance? Ooh. Okay, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
I love it.
Okay.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
I'm going to play us out
Yay.
with our closing.
Happy Hanukkah, everybody.
Happy Hanukkah, Stacy.
Monica.
Hanukkah.